joined by Nickelby, Thane, the Regional Information Security Manager at Aviation ISAC. Thank you very much for being with us today here in Singapore. So I just wanted to start by asking about your role in the aviation industry. What is your background in the industry, and how useful a conference like this is for you to meet others from the industry?
Sure. So I've actually been in the aviation industry for just close to about over a year now. Previously I was in the insurtech industry, and 2 years before that I was actually in the medical industry. So the aviation industry is something sort of like new to me per se for the last a year and a plus. Now my role within the Aviation ISAC is basically one of the most important roles is to actually promote the Aviation ISAC to all the aviation players basically. Letting them know the importance of cybersecurity. We often know that cybersecurity is often an afterthought matter in a lot of organizations, not just the aviation. And so my role here, is to kind of actually make sure that players within the aviation industries, are aware of the importance of cybersecurity. After all, we want to fly in a very safe way.
And when we talk about cybersecurity in the aviation industry, can you just give me some, examples of what this refers to? Is this, passengers' data with airlines and keeping that secure? What exactly is it?
Sure. So cybersecurity in aviation covers a whole lot of things. It's basically the whole cybersecurity ecosystem, if you want to call it. We cover everything from network security architecture, product security, governance, risk and compliance, operational technology, penetration testing and vulnerability assessment. We cover fraud as well. We even cover cybersecurity awareness and training. And one of the latest that we're actually covering now is the AI, artificial intelligence or machine learning, technologies that are actually being used quite recently and also heavily in certain airlines and also airports as well.
And I wanted to touch actually on AI. It's becoming more of a part of life, not just the industry, but across society effectively. But as it becomes used more by airlines, by people in the industry, is that creating new challenges for you in terms of cybersecurity issues? And how are you approaching this?
Oh, definitely. Right. So I mean, when we talk about AI, basically you are inputting questions or details or data into what we call a third party or another external, part of the whole IT ecosystem. So for example, like ChatGPT, everyone has access to it. If you want to go for the plus version, it's just about $22, maybe $20 depending on where you live. But again, the data that you input in there, sometimes people or employees that do not have adequate security consciousness, may tend to put in pretty critical and private information on ChatGPT just to get an answer. So that's just one of the the many problems that we associate with AI. Right. The other thing is also the relevancy of the information that you get in AI, whether it's an up-to-date information, whether it's relevant, whether it can be used, right? Because again, remember that AI, a lot of it is based on what we call LLM, right? Large language models. And sometimes this LLM needs to be trained again, ongoing training, and it takes time as well. Right, so accuracy of the data, especially when you can actually manipulate, how AI thinks and how AI reacts, it's also a concern, right? So there's just there's just a couple of the cybersecurity issues that we constantly face as challenges in our industry, in the airline industry. But again, we often say that often the best way to protect yourself against technology is to understand it, know its limitation, and react to it in a very humanely fashion.
Right. And for you, looking ahead to the next 12 months or so, what do you think are the biggest challenges that you will face in your line of work within the aviation industry?
Well, typically in the aviation industry, as well as with other industry for that matter, often the biggest challenge has always been user awareness. People may tend to just say that, yep, I know cybersecurity well, but in reality they don't really practice it. For example, using very simple passwords like password 1, and then they just add in an exclamation mark at the back, and then it gets cracked in maybe like 2 to 3 minutes by a really proficient security expert. But at the same time also there are other concerns, ongoing concerns like ransomware, for example. We have seen a lot of ransomware attacks in the news nowadays. We have a lot of attacks, whether it's state nation sponsored attacks from whichever country, that basically, keeps going on. And of course, with the geopolitical tensions, now with Russia, Ukraine, also in Israel and Palestine, and probably with other countries as well, especially around the APAC region, these attacks or this kind of what we call malicious scenarios is bound to continue.
Fantastic. Nick, thank you very much for your time today.
All right, thank you so much.